Is going to present to us on how to administer a club. I've seen many mistakes that we do in administering a club, and there's a question that came from the brother there, I don't see him anymore, on discipline. She's also going to touch on that. Since we started on time, I think we're going to be on time for the rest of the afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, my name is Sanelisiwe Zethu, AC 41 Spec South West Central Region. I worship at Rosettenville, normally known as La Rochelle. My presentation today is about administration of the Pathfinder Club. Anyone who can define administration? What do you understand by administration? Anyone? Ewo? She's thinking of paperwork. What else? Administration. Anyone to help? Okay, how to take care of those? Yes, I saw your hand though, it was. Okay, she's saying running of the club or an organization, all the paperwork needs to be in place. I will read here, it says, maintaining the morale of the club and keeping the spirits high. Reading from page 83, Pathfinder Manual, it says club morale. Morale or club spirit is the intangible element that determines the success of any Pathfinder club. It is the result of a combination of variety of important factors. All Pathfinders and staff members need to work together in developing a sense of unity and belonging and maintaining interest and enthusiasm. There are key principles in maintaining the Pathfinder Club. The first one is spirituality. Pathfinder staff will need to ensure that the club operates from a spiritual basis. Keep scriptural principles clearly in focus and take all opportunities to present the message of Jesus Christ in an effective manner to Pathfinders. We need to use our chaplain. I hate Pastor saying they are no more chaplain, which means it's spiritual leaders. We need to use our spiritual leaders that we choose as the club so that they maintain the spirituality in the club. Let's not do that on our own directors and councillors. Let's make use of our kids so that they grow in spirit and in wisdom. Then the other one is attendance. It has to be 100% attendance. When you see your club attending 50 and less, know that there is a problem. Club councillors and leaders should find out why Pathfinders are absent. A member who cannot be present for a club meeting should notify his councillors in advance. Meaning there will be no which you are meeting tomorrow at 10. So if they don't come, and without telling you, obviously there will be absenteeism. So they need to communicate. That's why communication is important. They need to communicate with the councillors and tell the councillor that tomorrow I won't make it, we are having a family gathering or anything else, so that you know where are they. Then there is home contact. This one is very important, councillors and directors. It is a good practice to send a club program to the homes of the Pathfinders, so that the parents and Pathfinders are well aware of the appointments of for club meetings. If you are meeting tomorrow and you are thinking, maybe if the executive is thinking of cancelling the meeting for Sunday, you need to communicate with the parents or the Pathfinders. Then the other point is round table discussion. As councillors and directors, we need to sit down with these kids and ask them, where can we improve our club? Their opinion or their contributions is very important. Let's not leave them out. It says here, take a little time in a Pathfinder club meeting to open a round table discussion on the question, what do you think we can do to make our club better? Encourage the members to express themselves in regards to club development. These kids, they play an important role in the club development. Remember, if they are not there, there is no club. So you need to involve them all the time. Then the other one is broader consultation. Hope I'm not fast. Broader consultation. As we have opportunity to talk with individual members, draw them out in regard to what they would like to do at the club. Perhaps these comments will help you see why Pathfinders have been dropping out. Learn to retain your members in the club. It's important to have one-on-one with the kids. Not necessarily you'll be asking them about their personal stuff, but that interaction is very important. They open up to their problems, they open up to their challenges, so that you as a director or a councillor, you know what's happening in the club. Then making members welcome. Not only should a new member be impressed with the responsibility of carrying out the ideals of the club, but also he ought to be impressed with the warmth of fellowship offered him by both his fellow members and staff. We need to make our Pathfinders welcome to the club. I heard Henry in the morning saying we need to know their names. It's very important. If you come to where I was as a club director, I almost know everyone. Only a few, maybe the new members. So it's very important to welcome everyone. Like you say, no corner. Welcome to the club you came today. And tomorrow, and no corner is going with patients and you don't know patients. You say, hey girl, you don't even say, what's your name? You need to know their names, and you need to accommodate everyone. Then the other one says reviewing the councillor's work. The club director and the club executive committee should review the work of the councillors occasionally. Pathfinders, like leaders, they can look up to who is fair, who are neither too strict nor too easy, who have a sense of humor, and who understand young people like them. Monitor the behavior of councillors. The other point is planning a balanced Pathfinder program. Leaders, we need to be very creative on this one. The program must be balanced and make sure everyone is involved. It says lead, I'll read as it is from page 85, Pathfinder Manual. It says lead the Pathfinders into achievement and learning of skills. He wants to hike. He wants to do things. Be sure that his program is giving him this opportunity and that promised activities are fulfilled. Do not let it be said, they told us we will go hikes, but we never go. The meetings must be carefully planned and balanced. Not too much sitting, not too much listening, not too much drill, the right kind of games. Do not scold and nag. Have plenty of variety. That is from page 85. The other point he says, you need cohesion or teamwork. I think this one starts with us as directors and councillors. If we are not working together in harmony, whatever happens in the executive council, it will flow to the councillors and goes to the Pathfinder Club. So make sure we work together as directors and councillors in harmony. Whatever differences that we have, let's put them aside and try by all means to work together. It says, observe troublemakers that are likely to disturb unity. Be as practical as possible in driving unity of mindset and purpose. The other point says, source relevant equipment and teaching materials. It's very important as a club to have enough equipment so that when we do our activities as clubs, we don't need to go to gardens and ask them to borrow us their flags or whatever. Make sure we have everything. We must try and try to do programs that will make us raise funds so that we are able to buy those equipments. I know some churches, in my church, they say business is not as usual. You can't go and ask money to buy club equipment. You need to source out and make sure you have those equipments. Equipment needs to be secured and insured if possible. The club cannot move without inadequate learning material. Be resourceful as leaders to secure enough material for effective running of the club. I have touched on principles of running the club. I'm not so sure if there are any questions before I move on to the other topic. Yes.
My question is, on Pathfinder Club, there need to be three parties. That's Pathfinder, the parent, and the director of the council. Then when it happens sometimes that either a director or council is consulting the parent of that child, then the excuse may be that no, my child is very busy. However, he wants that child. Is there any other way that you can help that child?
Did you hear the question? They say they didn't hear. Please come.
I was asking, in Pathfinder, there is need of maybe three parties. That's it, Pathfinder, the parent, and then director, and then councillor. So either a councillor, you see that that child is not either attending the meetings, and then he goes to the parent and consult him or her. But the answer may be that, no, my child is very busy. So I'm asking, is there any way you can help that child?
Asada is putting me on the spot. It's a little bit tricky when it comes to, that's the excuse that we get many a times. There are parents who are going to send kids to the club because they are busy themselves. And they want you as a club director or as a councillor to babysit. They'll do that. And then they will tell you sometimes that my child is busy. But many a times there is a reason. Can you stand up, Sesmos? This one is my fellow councillor and director in Berea. So if we have a quarrel, me and her, the issue is she is not feeling safe when her daughter comes to my club as a parent. So she will say the club, thank you, sis. She will say the child is either busy because they have got unresolved issues as parents. It affects the child. But because sometimes we want to focus on the club, but we don't want to focus on the child. So I want to say the ultimate is not investiture. the ultimate is a saving relationship with Jesus Christ, or for the child. So basically, between parent and director or counselor, let's resolve, or amongst ourselves. I think she touched on that. Amongst ourselves as counselors and directors, if we have got a difference, let's solve it so that when we come before the kids, we provide a united front. That's how I can answer that one. But scenarios are different from case to case, so deal them with in that kind of a way. Thank you.
The last hand, and then I'll continue.
Okay, it's just an addition. Sometimes the parents don't want the burden of bringing the kids to you. So for my club, at my level, what I've resolved, because it's a small club, depends on your club, you give yourself time to say maybe you're going to have an hour for Pathfinders. Instead of having the hour, you have maybe like 45 minutes, and you take that 15 minutes to go to the child's home and do whatever work that you're supposed to do with that child. Because at the end of the day, we're left with the children. Sometimes the parents will not bring the child to you. You have to go to the child.
Thank you. Do you have a hand? I'll give you a point.
Right, I just wanted to find out. Now we have found out that in our schools, most of the schools, right? We've got also classes that are happening in schools and also churches. And this sort of like if you find that a school, a child is taking one class, in the church also, as a church, we want also to have our club running. So the same child is like, we're pulling school and church. How can we help the child?
Anyone to answer that one? I have a child at Patterson Park and she's also attending La Rochelle.
Maybe to come to that,
Yes, please.
I think the best thing that you can do is that there should be communication between the teacher for the school and the teacher at the Pathfinder Club level, just to balance the whole curriculum thing. Because maybe sometimes you'll find out that maybe at school they are a bit behind, and this side they are moving at a local club level. So maybe if you can communicate with the two teachers for the child, maybe that will help.
Okay, my child is at Patterson Park, and the class that he is doing is behind than the one that he is doing at school. So I asked him, what do you want? Do you want to do both classes? He wanted to do both. So he is doing two of them. But it depends with the child. And, you know. Okay, let's move on. Our next topic says club discipline. I'll read this from the Pathfinder manual. It says, our goal in disciplining the members of our Pathfinder clubs ought to guide them as sons and daughters of God, to show them our love and understanding, to teach them God's character as revealed in order and discipline seen through our universe, to make them useful members of the church and their country, and to help them respect their leaders and their parents. Principles of discipline. Let's listen carefully. When I was reading through or going through this, it's a challenge. In a Pathfinder club, good discipline provides an environment that is conducive to cheerful attitudes and cooperative behavior. It emphasizes guidance rather than restraint. It's constructive rather than destructive. It is not crippling, it is enabling. It encourages self-control and purposeful activity. It teaches the child to do the right thing at the right time in the right way. Good discipline prevents trouble. A well-planned program will avoid any problems and mistakes. Order and system inspire confidence. Pathfinders learn by example of their leaders that God is a God of order. In a well-disciplined club, the program starts on time, the whole staff is there in time, the program runs smoothly and to its conclusion. On this one, I just laughed because as directors and counselors, we tell kids that the program starts at 10, the kids are there at 10, as we are nowhere to be found. We arrive at 10:30 or 11. And that on its own destroys the club. So we need to be careful as leaders. It says establish rules and regulations. Inform the pathfinders of rules, your expectations, and methods of enforcement. Then this one from education page 290 says, rules should be few and well considered. And when once made, they should be enforced. Whatever is found impossible to change, the mind learns to recognize and adopt itself to it. Then here, another point says, present devotional on discipline, explaining the pledge and law. Consistently and diligently apply training discipline. Counsel with guilty youth before disciplinary action and pray with them. When they understand, they normally cooperate. Proper and improper disciplinary methods. The wrong way is to crush or break the spirit by using strict force. The crushed spirit will develop distrust and hatred for authority. Don't punish in anger. You don't use threats and warning that can't be carried out. Don't force apologies in public. Don't use corporal punishment. Don't detain after club meeting. Don't assign extra tasks. Then the do's says, the correct way to administer discipline is to inspire that which is right and orderly by love, kindness, and discipline. Win confidence of the youth, show them you love them by kindness, and you expect their loyal cooperation. This correct way develops trust, compliance, cooperation, and love. You need to do personal counsel, do use group judgment, do take care of individual differences, expel if necessary. When a pathfinder continues to misbehave, he must face the realization that he is either going to have to meet the standard of behavior or leave the group. It's a difficult one here. Punishable offenses in the club. Cases of clear and unjustifiable insubordination, members need to respect leaders and one another. Cases where tendencies and activities are considered serious offenses or behavior problems such as indecency, impudence to counselor, offensive language, injuring property, cheating, and stealing. The difficult one, disciplinary procedures. The guidelines. This will vary with different clubs, of course. If a pathfinder is not obedient or cooperative, the counsellor should tactfully speak to the pathfinder. The counsellor should explain what is expected of the pathfinder as a member of the club. The counsellor should have a private visit and pray with the pathfinder. That is the first stage. Then the second stage is if the pathfinder continues to be disobedient and uncooperative, the counsellor should solicit the help of the deputy director in charge of the club discipline. They will privately counsel together with the pathfinder. They should earnestly solicit cooperation. They should pray with him. Disciplinary measures continued. If it should be necessary to approach the pathfinder on a third occasion, listen to this one, directors and councillors. The councillor, deputy director, and the director should meet with the pathfinder privately. Counsel with the pathfinder and explain how important it is to have unity, cooperation, and an understanding spirit among club members. Attempt to convey to him the seriousness of the matter in the light of his not doing his honest part. And pray together. Make an appointment to visit the home and counsel with the parents and the pathfinder together. If misbehavior continues, the counsellor, the deputy director, the director, and the pathfinder should have another meeting. The case will be referred to the disciplinary committee for further study. Disciplinary committee consists of the director, deputy directors, the counsellor of the pathfinder, and the pathfinder boy or girl chosen from the club. The pathfinder parents should be notified, and the pathfinder will be given a 1-month vacation from the club. He should be visited at his home by the counsellor during this period of his absence. Okay, before I move to another topic, I've done with the discipline. Do you have any questions and contributions towards the topic? Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this presentation. Discipline is such an important area. I think my contribution is that we should treat each other with respect. It doesn't matter whether you're dealing with a 7-year-old or an 18-year-old, or even you guys as adults. And I'm raising this because during my training as a master guide, I've had facilitators who've spoken to me in an, may I say, an ungodly manner? In an ungodly manner. And because we have been accustomed to take some of this behavior, we shouldn't do that. It's very breaking, it is not encouraging. And as a parent, if you treat me like this, I'm saying maybe you're speaking to my child like that as well. So I would encourage us as leaders, no matter, children are children, they forget, you are children, you deal with your children. You'll tell me how many times you tell your daughter to pick up their stuff off the floor. And I think that's a thing that we must never forget, that we are dealing with children, and that even if they are children, no matter how old they are, we still need to treat them with dignity and respect.
Thank you. Any other hand?
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to say sometimes the way we look also contributes to the kids not to disrespect us. Because when you're a counselor and you come dressing the other way or you look the other way, so to say, maybe Q-Tex, and I'm against Q-Tex at my house. I told my daughter, no Q-Tex in this house. And the counselor, yes, Q-Tex. It makes my kid not to respect the counselor, because I told my daughter, Q-Tex is for the prostitutes. So when he saw you at church, I'm telling you what we do as parents. You tell your kids, okay, because your kids want to try things, they want to put Q-Tex. They'll tell you, no, prostitutes, they're the ones who do Q-Tex. So now when the kids see the teacher with Q-Tex, there's no more that respect.
Any other hand? I think the last one.
Afternoon. I've just made an observation when she has stated about Q-Tex. I think as leaders, we also need a topic about this Q-Tex thing. Have you observed that?
The last one.
Just nail polish. No. It's not allowed. It's just nail polish. No,
it's not. Let's listen, showers.
Hello.
Showers.
I wanted to ask on disciplinary. You said there is a period we give a kid that if they are naughty, we must give them a period and then we move to another stage. How long can that patience be tested? Like, how long can we then say, if this kid has become naughty, or is there a pattern that you see through a kid that, oh, now I deserve to take this stage, or that stage, or that stage, so that we don't maybe act and say, rule off a kid from the word God to say, they don't listen, and the next thing another stage, just quickly and abruptly, and the next thing the kid is already being sent on vacation. How can we do it as leaders so that we avoid and we try to win as more kids and keep them in the flock in a certain way?
Anyone to answer that one? On the floor? Ayanda?
Thank you so much. You know, in our work environments, we also mess up.
Yeah.
You come late in a work environment, you take lunch when it's time to work. You go on Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever. Your boss, by law, is not allowed to just say, I'm watching you. And then one day they do nothing about your discipline. Then one day they come to work and they're like, you know what, I'm done with you. Pack up your things and go. It's against the law. They can't do that. What is the principle? Graduated discipline. And it's not a confused term when I say graduated. You know, it's gradual. And you move from one level and you intensify. You intensify, you intensify, you intensify. And the other principle in discipline is that when you give a verbal warning, make sure it sticks. The next step, it's a written one. The next step, it's another one. The next step is another one. And after that, you then hold a disciplinary hearing. That's what happens in our work environment. Now, once you've given your final one for being late, and then I continue to be late, but you don't do anything about it. When one day you are fed up, now you want to discipline me, again the law is going to say, because you didn't discipline me after the final written warning, you are at fault that I continue to behave the way that I did, because you do not even take yourself seriously. So I'm taking that and I'm bringing it back to parenting and kids. Because we seem to understand discipline in work environments, but then with children, we lose patience. You can't come, I'm married, beautiful woman, she's short, therefore full of temper. One day, she's not here.
And what happens here?
And what happens at training? When I married my wife, and when she's addressing me, at the time I feel like, why are you talking to me like you are telling me for the 5th time? You know what I mean? I must feel you coming up, you know? Not to just, Until one day, I visited her entire family, I slept over, and I listened to the people speak. Then I understood. After that, I was fine being shouted at. So in principle, what I'm trying to say, sometimes it's not the child, it's us. Because we are used to being disciplined in a certain manner, we continue to discipline in the same manner. Many of us, we know what we should be disciplining our children for, we don't discipline them. Then come to church, we beat them up, not because of what they are doing, because they are embarrassing us to other people. So the principle, if you notice in my examples that I'm making, is addressing the one who is disciplining, not the one who is being disciplined. Because a child who's being disciplined is a product of the one who is disciplining. So the problem of discipline is not with children, in my view, it is with us. The problem of children not being interested in progressive classes, it is not with children, it is with us. Sometimes we start to be disciplining children, but we don't take ourselves seriously. We are not consistent. We discipline them because we are fed up, not because of the principle. And because we are fed up, then we are we do it wrongly, like Samu mentioned, that we then tend to corporal punishment, firstly because we are black, secondly because we are tired. So it's all of those things. For me, I think the comment was rather to say, we know what to do, but we are not consistent and we don't take our own word seriously.
Okay, just to add on that, on his comment, that was the last hand, by the way. Okay, just to add on what he has mentioned. In our workplaces, I'm an HR personnel, by the way. When you don't just say, okay, I'm giving you return warning, verbal, it starts with verbal and then return. There has to be a document written down, a policy. So I think it's very crucial that each club develops a policy for discipline. So you don't just say it with a word of mouth that, each child will know that there's a policy or whatever the rules of the club. When I behave like this, then this is what is going to happen. Okay.
I can see your hands, but it's my time. Officer Michelle, please, you can come forward. I'm about to wrap up. Then the last one says public relations, improving the visibility of the club in the local community. The Pathfinder Club needs visibility both in the church and in the community. The club can be of good use in evangelism when it is visible in the community. The junior youth is a great magnet for their age mates to stay away from dangers in the society. Practical activities to promote the club involve the Pathfinders in preparing a Pathfinder newsletter, use members as reporters, have members write articles in their own words, help the Pathfinders feel that this is their newsletter, involve the journalism owner. The last part says improving club visibility. Use print media if available at your local church. Improve digital media usage in the club to reach our technology-driven youth. Engage the community through various initiatives and working with different departments of the church. This is the end of my presentation. I don't know if we have any questions on public relations.
Public
Please come.
Public relations, not discipline.
My comment might be misplaced, but it's directed to the program coordinators. I think the content of the presentations is excellent, and we thank those that have prepared. But remember what the pastor said. He said, everything that is being presented, we can access it from the manual, from the administration. So I think people that are here should not have problems with the content. So I want to appeal that let's not limit the engagement, the questions, the discussion, because I think that's where the value addition of the program is. We can go back and read what they have presented, but let's not close people out, because I think when people are raising hands, they want to talk genuine issues, and if we shut them out, we take away the value addition of the program.
Okay, noted. Because you get tired and then we end up not going through the other.
They want to know his name. They want to say his name for president.
Thank you very much. I appreciate everything that has been said. Thank you, my presenter. I want to go back a little bit on the issue of discipline. I have a problem with whatever is written for the law and it doesn't cater for the counselor or whoever is in the program. We have talked a lot about what we can do for the children and the disciplinary process. But however, we also need to consider the counselor and whoever the director is as emotional human beings. It is one thing to have a child disrespect you in front of the club, and we wait for 3 months to take discipline. It is not good enough. We must consider they that are taking this. Remember, part of it is voluntary work, yet it is the work for Christ. But in doing so, let us also take care of one another. We grew up in a system. I like what the director said. At times we apply what was used on us to the learners. If it worked, it also must work somehow. Right. I'm not talking about corporal punishment. Our parents would say stop it, and it would be stopped. But if then it is a challenge and it comes a counter between the adventurer or the pathfinder and the counselor at the end of the day feels small and the child wins, tomorrow you expect the same counselor to stand in front of the club and give a charge. I pity the system.
That's all I can say.
Hi, brother. I know it's short, but my head has been out. Okay. I think we're missing one main thing. We've skipped that important step, and we're talking about a lot of other things. Remember, Pathfinder is a voluntary thing. It's not children's ministries. It's voluntary. So it means every child that comes to Pathfinder must get into an agreement with the club on their behavior and what is expected of them with the club before you even get to that part. So if you skip that part, if you don't get into an agreement with the parents and the child on for you to be a member of this club, this is what we expect. And this is how you're going to do it. You will always have a problem with discipline.
Okay, there's a hand here, there was a hand there, but since I'm this side, I'll start here then.
Okay, I wanted to ask my presenter. Sometimes it's not the child who's a problem, eh? Sometimes it's the parent. I don't know how to deal with such a situation. Sometimes it's not the child, or maybe can we take it that the child is not doing work. We are trying to push the child to do the work, but then the parent now becomes the problem, more problematic than the child. How do you deal with such a situation?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Okay, if you can just, my leader, if you can just note all the comments and the questions, just take all of them at once, and then when I give back to you to answer. I've noted this hand, and that one. That's all, and we are closing, right? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think in terms of my contribution with regards to discipline is, I think the reality that we've covered earlier during the same seminar or training session was the fact that our main purpose is to prepare our kids for God, for heaven. Now, if that remains the main purpose why we have a Pathfinder club, somehow it sounds also as though we're expecting a perfect children that we need to prepare for heaven. Now, if I look at how God deals with us in terms of discipline, it's a bit scary how we want to deal with children, and yet we are to prepare them for heaven. It's not an easy job. That's why it's voluntary. If you are not too strong to handle it, then maybe you're not the right person for the job. Because some of us will be responsible to keep our children out of heaven. Because we are not in tune with our Heavenly Father. So it calls for patience, it calls for love, And really, it calls for God really to work within us in order for us to be able even to know or to understand how to discipline our children in such a way that it draws them closer to God and not push them away.
Thank you. Make it short, please. Don't take too long.
Good evening, everyone. My question was. My question was, if you have a scenario where the parent will say to you as a counselor, everything that is not in books that my child can do in the class, please let me know. And then the child will plead with you, say, please don't tell my mom. And then these other kids, they will go behind and tell the parent. And then the parent will just come to the class and clap the child in front of everyone. And it end up like leading that child to not like the class or lessons or what. How do you deal with such a situation? And then when you talk to the parent will tell you that, Mina, I'm not a tomorrow person, there and there. So how do you deal with such a scenario to avoid the child going out?
Happy Sabbath. Okay, I just want to comment on what she said about the kids. Okay. The thing is, we had this online training session. But why can't you wait? So the thing is, we as parents, we tell kids like the Q-text is this, the Q-text is that, or whatever. We tell kids, but then the Bible, and we also tell kids that God doesn't love you if you do this. So we're not supposed to do that. We learned that we're not supposed to like tell the kid that God doesn't love. God doesn't love the sin. So if you're telling the child that God doesn't love the people who steal, so the kid will grow up learning that God doesn't love kids. Same thing applies. If you tell that the child, people who put nail polish are bad. So we are instilling like these things in our kids that they mustn't respect people who do this. They mustn't respect people who do that. Let us like bring a different approach to the thing. Like if there is a problem, bring a different approach to it. Don't just say the person is bad, but then find a different way to put it.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. I did not raise my hand, so thank you for being so kind. No, I'm just joking. I'm just illustrating a point. Just 2 points I want to make, coming back to this question here. There's no expiry date on discipline, that we have to do this month and this month it must be that. We have to go the extra mile with the children. The spirit of, if you look at the Ten Commandments, it says, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. But the spirit of the law is love. We must never forget that. We mustn't look at discipline as it is a check sheet. We have done this now already, we have done this already, now we have to do this. We shouldn't see discipline as that. My last point is, do not use the children as a springboard to address the parents. That is also a wrong approach. So if you want to discipline the parents through the children, that is wrong. You only have the children at your disposal, not the parents.
Thank you. My leader, if you can respond to, I think there were 2 questions that needed your response. Others were just comments.
Anyone to respond on the first question? What if the problem is the parent?
Thank you. Director, you are a parent. Come. This is my director, at my local club. We work well together, Her daughter is one of my best friends. Ne? But I'll tell you one thing. What I deal with the daughter, she doesn't get involved. You get what's happening? The daughter has done something. I was telling her that, I was talking to her daughter during the course of the week, from Sabbath last week. I wanted to introduce to her, she'd talk today. She took a taxi, went to her sister. So I told her why she went to the sister today. But the truth is, at the end of the day, it's fine. At the end of the day, we have got squabbles amongst each other as parents. And then we use children as a pawn. So, PATHFINDER Club is between me, the parent, and the director. But let's deal with what is on the table. Let's leave our politics aside. I said this in another church. I hope they won't beat me. I said, if this jacket is going to make me miss heaven, I would rather take it out, send it to the conference. She's here, or the pastor, I send it there. Because at the end of the day, it is about our salvation. Mine and the child and the parent. So let me not be a stumbling block to the parent. Parents, don't be a stumbling block to the director. Let us work concurrently because we are working with this particular soul. So our differences are political, or there's something we stepped each other cons 10 years ago. Comes in director, he can't be a director this one because last year what. Hey, I've sorted my things with Jesus.
Ayanda, are you going to address the second question? If the child does not want the counselor to tell the parent, the
problem with this question is that I'm that child. I'm not necessarily going to tell you an academic answer, but I will share with you what works with children is trust. The engagement with the child, it's about winning the child over to you, for the child to trust you, for the child to respect you. For as long as there is competition between the counselor and the child, the hard work is not for you to punish the child. The hard work is for you to influence the mind. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Because the part of the work of influencing the child is hard, and it's a toiling road. We resort to punishing. And when the child complies, because they are afraid of being punished, we often go away with a glorified success that is not real, to think that we have done well with children, when simply that they are afraid of us punishing them. The beauty of an engagement between a parent and a child, a counselor and a child, is for you to succeed to transform the mind and the behavior of a child. And therefore, with that answer, I'm trying to say that if the child says, please don't tell my mother, please don't tell my father, don't tell the mother, don't tell the father, deal with the child, because the child has been handed over to you, and that is called delegated authority. You are the parent at that time. Of course, there are things that are of criminal activities that may require you to sit down with the parent and engage the parent. There are also other things that are not necessarily criminal in their activities, but because of a continued pattern that can be a danger and a route and a cause to other more dangerous things, then it's your duty to sit down with the parent as part of the engagement anyway, to provide feedback to the parent. You would often see, even sometimes during assessment, when we assess children, we want to overemphasize with the child instead of making observations with children. Then when you are done, you go and sit down with the counselor and the parent, preferably if the counselor will not take that responsibility, and share your observations with the child. That this is what I'm observing with the child, especially the work of the counselor. These are the areas of improvement. These are the areas where the child is struggling. But in terms of discipline, I fully, my approach would be, don't tell the parent. If the child feels that, don't tell my parent on this matter, and you feel that it's not something criminal, Don't tell the parent. How many things does your parent know? My mother found out. My mother, we were sitting, Angithi, these days we only go home December. We're sitting and we're relating stories between us and my cousins. And she found out when she used to take us out of the house during school holidays, drop us off at our grandmother's. We used to walk back 30 minutes later, open the window, through the burglar door, open the door from the inside, open the house. We have our thing for the rest of the day. 4:30, when she knocks off, we also knock off. Back to our grandparents' house, and then we wait for her to pick us up. She picks us up and off we go. My grandmother went to the grave. She never told her. She heard it from us now that she can't beat us anymore. So there is plenty you have done. There is plenty that I have done that my teacher dealt with, the parent next door dealt with, the parent at church dealt with, that my parents never got to know. Because sometimes the most involved person emotionally may not necessarily be the best person to deal with certain problems.
Amen. We are the soldiers in the army. We're gonna fight, though some have to die. We're gonna hold up the bloodstained banner. We're gonna hold it up until we die. We are the soldiers in the army. We're gonna fight, though some may have to die. We're gonna hold up the bloodstained banner. We're gonna hold it up until we die. Oh, teachers, you were a soldier. You got your hands on the gospel of God. Praise the Lord. But one day you grew old, you couldn't fight anymore. You said, stand up and fight anyhow. Well, we are the soldiers in the army. We're gonna fight, though some may have to die. We're gonna hold up the bloodstained banner. We're gonna hold it up until we die. Oh, counselors, you were a soldier. You got your hands on the gospel of God. But one day you grew old, you couldn't fight anymore. You said, stand up and fight anyhow. Well, we are the soldiers in the army. We're gonna fight, though some have to die. We're gonna hold up the gospel banner. We're gonna hold it up until we die. Oh, all of us, you are a soldier. You got your hands on the gospel of God. But one day you grew old, you couldn't fight anymore. You said, stand up and fight anyhow. Well, we are the soldiers in the army. We're gonna fight, though some may have to die. We're gonna hold up the bloodstained banner. We're gonna hold it up until we die. She said in her presentation, when you are dealing with children, you don't sit, listen, and that's all. You have to be creative. So it starts with us leaders, eh? Okay, now I'm going to hand over to my leader here. Okay, and then immediately after him, Officer Michelle is going to take us through the presentation.
Thank you. Just one announcement. All the PLAs and the APLAs and aspiring CMTs, the pastor would like to meet you immediately after the last presentation for a few minutes. The meeting was supposed to be at 2, but postponed to after the last presentation. Let's just remain for a few minutes. The pastor would like to meet us. Thank you. God bless us. Michelle, over to you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Mine is not a presentation as such. It's just some information that I need from you. But before that, I was disappointed. We've only got a handful of soldiers here. Only a handful. Very sad. I'm sad. We need to sing that. You are a soldier again. A soldier's always ready. We'll fight anyhow, but you guys are. Okay. Back to what I have to address you on. I'll just take a few minutes. Club directors, I'm sure you're familiar with this form. Club registration form. Thank you. I think up to date I probably have less than 20 that have been returned. And the cutoff date is? Thank you, end of February, which is next week. Okay, and hand in hand with the club registration, you get a form that looks like this and a sheet that looks like this. This is the club insurance. This form helps you, and it's critical and vital that you complete this form, because should anything happen to any of you that are on this sheet, that is why this sheet is so important. Every person that you insure, so the people you insure would be anybody that has anything to do with the club. So if you go on outings and you have parents that go with you to do cooking, etc., they need to be on this form. If you've got people that drive your children to various places, they need to be on this form, because heaven forbid something happens to them and their name is not here. How do you claim for somebody that's not there? Okay, so these forms are very, very, very important. Please don't only return the club registration form. The club registration form is important because this gives us the information we need to be able to ensure that we have enough material for you. But the challenge we have is many of us are smart as leaders. Now, we forget. Come the end of the year, hey, I didn't register. You're the first to submit your order form and you expect to get everything, whereas those that have submitted their names, and we've counted things according to those that have registered, now because your form is in first, what happens to me? I have to honor your order, but your name doesn't even appear on our list. So please, directors, ensure that these forms come back to us. It is one form for pathfinders and adventurers. There's space for both directors. Okay, even if you work independently in your churches, that's your indaba, not mine. Mine is to have 2 names on the form. Okay, and then so this list is very important. And on this form, you choose the option that you as a church can afford. Okay, there's an option for $1, there's an option for $1.70, option 2, option 3, option 4, and option 5. So the more kachin you have, the better insurance you can take. And then when you get the bill, eventually when we get it from the union, so you don't pay upfront calculated on $1.70, but you wait for the invoice to come from the union, sends it to us, and then we send it to you. But the union has been delayed. They've only just caught up now since 2018. They haven't billed those that have taken out insurance, so you're going to be getting your bills soon. Okay? But it's very important, and it is to your advantage to take out the insurance, because you never know what can happen. You can walk out of here and get hit by a car, or anything can happen and you end up in hospital, but you were at this event. And because you were at this event and you took out insurance, you can claim. But if you haven't, you can't claim, and you can't hold the office responsible for your neglect. So please ensure that I get all the documentation back. the information that is needed, especially on this one. You need to give a breakdown. So, top line, you'll have the number of people you are insuring. Okay? So, at your club, you've got 50 people, so you will put 50. I'll use my club, for example, River League. I'm insuring 50 people. Then I need the breakdown. Pathfinders, so many. Adventurers, so many. Staff, which would include your directors, your counsellors, all those other people I mentioned, the drivers, the cooks, etc. They will all fall under staff, and you'll put your staff, so many. And that's the breakdown that we have to forward to Bloemfontein. So the longer you take, the harder you make it for us. And then on this form, you will list the names of the children. You don't have to put friend class, whatever class. Pathfinder, adventurer, counselor, director, that is the rank. Okay, not the class, but the rank. So they are pathfinders currently, and then the option you are taking is very important. Option 1, 2, or 3. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Officer Michelle. May we have a song? Sanelisiwe Zethu, please. May you come up front?
Questions with regards to...
Oh, question.
You send those names. I don't know what's happening at your club. So you... Let me...
Must use the mics. Not optional.
On,
Thank you.
I'll discipline you later.
Okay, on registration, like registration is being done now.
Just a second. Is it fine now? No, it's not.
Thank you. On registration, when you're registering now for the insurance, you don't have as many kids, but as you progress and there's activities and they invite their friends and they also want to come and join the camps and stuff that you're doing, can we update that insurance, or the kids are not covered until the next year?
You have to submit those names. And if you're going to a camp and those kids are at that camp, there's a separate form, a camping form, that you can add those children to for that specific event, but then they're only covered for that event. But if you want them to be covered for the year, you need to, but please don't send one name this week, next week another name. Okay, thank you.
Just a question, the indemnity form still applicable now that you have insurance form?
Remember, the indemnity form is for at club level. You need to keep a record of that so that if anything happens to the child, you have the parents' permission to take care of that child. So before every event, if you're taking the children away from the premises, you should get the indemnity form signed, just so that if anything happens, you can give them the necessary medical attention that they need.
The indemnity form goes hand in hand with the insurance form. So you must have insurance and the indemnity form.
Possible?
Yes, but then it doesn't. It does. Yes, we must have both, but it doesn't take out. Yes, we must have both, but still, it doesn't take out our own. What did they say last time? I'm trying to think of an English word. Our responsibility to make sure that the children are safe. Okay. So you should make sure that they sign an indemnity form, but the church must go an extra mile to make sure that the children are safe. Because even if they filled out an indemnity form and something happens, you are still responsible, liable. That's the word I was looking for. You are still liable. Ne? So if the children go into an accident and they find out that we did something or we didn't, or that we were negligent, even if the children sign an indemnity, we get punished. Okay.
Okay, I hear Michelle saying the union will send an invoice, and we would have submitted our names. Our as a club. So when are we insured? The moment we submit the list, or when the union brings in the invoice, because now there's that time difference. When are we really insured?
You will see on the form it says from 1st of April to the 31st of March the following year. So the minute you guys send those forms to me and I submit them to Bloemfontein, then you are covered. Before they send back the invoice to us, you are covered, because as you can hear, currently they're working on a backlog of 3 years or more. So, but you've been covered all that time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, before I hand over to my director, I just want to say, Michelle, how many clubs have registered?
I just mentioned that there are so far less than 24 clubs.
We have got less than 20 clubs that have registered. We've got about 102 churches in the conference. 160 plus in the conference. So here I am talking to directors, and only 20 of you have your clubs registered. So according to the law, we must only be having 20 directors here. Some of you are just visiting from I don't know where, right? So directors, please, if you know Michelle doesn't have your email address, see her now, okay? Give her your email address so that she'll email you the forms. And Monday morning, first thing Monday morning, please, may you have your club registered. It is very important. Plus, you cannot have insurance from us if you're not registered with us. Are we together? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. The next presentation will be done by none other than Zethu. Okay, she was introduced in the morning. I don't have to introduce her again. So she's going to take us through the presentation on programming, and then we'll take it from there. Over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you today? Can I see smiles? Can I see the waves? Okay. You're making me feel so much better. As they have introduced, I am Zethu Lunga, and I'm from New Beginnings in Roodepoort, and I'll basically be talking you through the Pathfinder Club programming. I only have 30 minutes with you, so I'll run through the presentation as quickly as possible. Don't mind me walking around. I'm a teacher, so I walk around a lot. Okay, I don't stand behind my desk. So yeah. According to your programs, our overview, I'll do the introduction, Pathfinder classes, enrollment night, special services and ceremonies, yearly program planning guide, and the investiture service. When I get nervous, I tend to speak very fast. If I speak fast, tell me. Just put up your hand and be like, nah. I teach grade 1, so I get like, teacher, every single time. So I'm good with that. Just put up your hand and tell me that I'm moving very fast, but I'll try and be as slow as possible. Right. So Pathfinder programming. Basically programs that need to take place during the course of the year, starting from January, obviously till the end. But before that, the administrative manual states that one of the main objectives of the Pathfinder Club is to prepare the youth for life with its emergencies and help the youth to become useful to both God and man. The Pathfinder class program has been set up with this in mind. These classes, therefore, are very important for guiding the Pathfinder into the program of self-improvement. Now, what this means is Pathfinder classes are not just there to entertain the children or to keep them busy when the parents are doing afternoon programs or, get them to gather together and to chat. We need to teach them skills that they are going to be able to use in future as well. Hence, we've got the Pathfinder, not the awards, the honors. Thank you. I'm used to adventurers. Hence, we've got the honors, right, where we teach them different skills and all of that. So we're not supposed to just sit with the children, in as much as it is important to get to know them, where they go to school, what they like doing and all of that. But it is also important to cover the curriculum and ensure that we teach honors that are going to enable them to stand firm in future, learn skills that they'll be able to use for themselves and skills that they'll be able to teach others as well. So we must not take that away from them. Let's try and make sure we incorporate as much as possible. In as much as the Pathfinder curriculum is important, but the honors are also as important. I've seen many clubs where they just focus on the activity book and they overlook the honors. They don't do anything for the honors. They're actually very important. They go in depth regarding whatever it is that the Pathfinders will be doing at that particular time. Right, Pathfinder classes. I'm pretty sure we all know the Pathfinder classes, right? So we've got the friend class, companion, explorer, ranger, voyager, and guide. And each class has got a set curriculum, things that were designed, curriculum that was designed with the child in mind. So people that design the curriculum, obviously, they know that a child in a certain age is able to grasp this, they're able to learn this and all of that. So the curriculum is not difficult for them. I know I've heard parents before saying, no, it's too hard, they can't understand it. It's actually not. It is designed with the child in mind. And of course, as counselors, as directors, as teachers, and as mothers and fathers, it is our job and responsibility to ensure that we teach these lessons in a fun way, in an educational but fun way, and we make sure that our children understand. So, elders, bless them. But I don't know if you've ever been in a class that is taught by a church elder. Yo, they think they're teaching the century. This other time I even said to them, okay, that's too deep. Maybe we should just try and, take the cream on top, So try and think. And one thing I usually do is I think of myself when I was in high school, and I think, okay, what did I enjoy doing? Which lessons did I like the most? What did my teacher do for me to like the lessons? And then I take that into my Pathfinder classes as well. So it's very important to make sure that we teach them in love and we encourage them and all of that. Now, I talked about honors, very important part of the Pathfinders. And there are tips for maintaining enthusiasm for Pathfinder honors. Now, some of us, when it comes to honors, there's actually two things. So others, they just want to scribble through, take the question sheet, write the answers for the children, submit to the conference, requirement meet, right? While others drag, and they'll be doing one honor for weeks on, they're doing the same honor over and over and over again until children get it or whatever it is that they think is going to happen. But this is not how it's supposed to go. Okay, so the first thing is to have a definite date for completion. Make sure that you go through the honor yourself. Check all the requirements, all the things that you can group together, do at the same time. Other honors can be done over one day, others do take longer. But try and see, what can I do to ensure that the honor is educational but is completed at a shorter time, right? And then you do that because you do not want to bore the children. The second one is to make the activity worthwhile. Just because you're going hiking doesn't mean you have to climb up the mountain and down and that's it. No. Make it more interesting. Do other activities inside, and this all comes together when we plan in advance. Remember what they always say, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail, right? So just because you're going hiking doesn't mean that your children don't have to do anything fun on the way. Have activities, have stops on the way, do other things. You can actually even cover 2 honors within one space of time. Just do other things, get them engaged, give them things to do. Tell them, okay, we're going hiking. This is what I was thinking. What do you think? And that is very important, getting them involved, because I feel as parents, we kind of feel like our children do not really have a say, or they don't think or something like that, but they do. They actually do have ideas that we can use. So let's also engage them in the honors that we have or the honors we want to do, and ask them as well, what kind of honors would they like to complete? And then the honors notebook. So I've noticed in some clubs that honors workbooks do not really exist. You know, everything is written in one notebook. Classwork, honors, everything mixed up. When you go for assessments, you just kind of figure it out. No biryani there, you know, everything in one pot. I love biryani, by the way. So yeah, so we shouldn't do that. Honors are actually meant to be fun. Children get to, that is when they get to be creative. You know, so an honors book can be like a scrapbook where they decorate it and you can teach them how to, you know, collect animals and what do they call it? Imprinting them or whatever, like keeping them safe, basically. I forgot the term. But just nice, adventurous things that they can do in the books to ensure that they love the honors book. They know, okay, this is my honors book. This is where I get to be creative. This is where I get to, you know, indulge myself. And then the next one, still on maintaining the enthusiasm for Pathfinder honors, is waiving requirements. Now, I'm pretty sure you have seen at times other honors are, some of the requirements are not really within our situation, right? Let's say they ask you to climb the highest mountain and we do not have Mount Everest anywhere close by. So in such situations, you would then have to speak to the conference to find out what can you do to meet the requirement, even though you cannot physically do whatever it is that it requires for you to do. But some of the things obviously would require maybe a trip or something. And then meeting Pathfinder honor requirements, very important. So when an honor has requirements, it is important that you meet all the requirements for you to get the honor. So it doesn't make sense to start an honor that has got 15 questions and you only cover 10 and the other 5 you're like, they'll swing it. It doesn't. So all the requirements need to be met for your club to be able to get the honor. And I would just like to say that it is very important to teach your children the importance of completion. Because if you're going to complete the work with them, even though they're now tired and the honor is taking long and perhaps you have exceeded your date of finishing the honor, just to let them know that, look, we're almost there. Let's try and work together so that they also know that it is important to finish what you have started. Because remember, we are not just teaching the Pathfinder curriculum and the honors, but we are actually training them to be future leaders. I mean, we don't want them to drop out of school or drop out of varsity because we could not even finish a single honor. So whatever it is that we do, we need to always remember that we are doing it to the glory and honor of God. Amen. Okay, then we go to this. I'm moving very fast. We're going to the enrollment night, which does not really have to be at night, by the way. We know that a lot happens. Other people struggle with transportation, and other people live in like dangerous areas. So it's just a way of saying, okay, enrollment. Now, I'm pretty sure that most of us, one way or the other, we have enrolled children at schools, right? Grade 1 enrollment, first day of school, parents' evening and all of that, and they would basically educate you about the school code of conduct and how discipline measures are taken and everything that is pertaining to curriculum and so on and so forth. So the enrollment night basically works the same way. It is done to enroll children into your club, whether it's the Adventure or the Pathfinders, and it is usually combined. So enrollment night is usually for both Pathfinders and Adventurers all at once, and it is used to get new recruits or new children into the club, and the older ones, usually you would ask them to assist you in sorting out the whole program. And the enrollment night or enrollment day usually has to take place during the first couple of weeks in the year, preferably first quarter, but earlier in the year, just to give that momentum to say, okay, listen, we need to get the club rolling, we're going to be learning, this is what we'll be doing, so that even parents are aware that, oh, okay, my child has to attend classes every Saturdays, or they have to attend classes every Sundays. This is the uniform that is expected. And as a director and counselors, obviously, you're going to have to present all of this to them. Ensure that they know the code of conduct of the club, rules that need to be followed, what kind of uniform are they supposed to wear on which days, and all of that. And then during enrollment night, you'd also be introducing parents and children to the club, to the rest of the church, and to the other club members to tell them, okay, these are your fellow club members or fellow friends that you'll be learning with. So try and get used to them and all of that, and of course, enforcing the rules. And parents also need to sign a consent at this time to say, I am willing to go with my child wherever it goes. And I think if we do the enrollment program properly and parents sit there and they understand exactly what is required of them, then all the issues about discipline and not attending class and not doing work and all of that can actually be erased just by us having a proper enrollment service. So it is very important to plan it carefully, stick to time. The program that we send out to parents, make sure that it is within the time frame. They know that, okay, the program is going to take an hour, this is what is going to happen, and you actually stick to that. Have a timekeeper if need be. Okay, so in the administrative manual, there are a list of things that you follow through. I'm not going to bore you with that. So you can just read through it. They actually have it in details on what to do. And just a couple of things, welcoming and introduction of the Pathfinder Club. They tell you how to do that, what is expected of you as the director, what the councillors are supposed to be doing and so on and so forth, the Pathfinder organization, what it consists of, what you can expect, whom to speak to if a need arises, parents meetings and Pathfinder meetings, when they're going to take place and so on and so forth. And then there's the closure. So if you go to the administrative manual, I think the pastor already spoke that it is for sale and it is also there online. So you can download it, go through it, every single thing, every step is there, including additional things that I did not mention. Special services and ceremonies, I also won't touch on that because it is so after the enrollment, right, you get to do other things, say you're inviting clubs for a Pathfinder Day or analysis and ceremonies, or you have induction or whatever it may be. All those are listed in the administrative manual, and what where the flags are supposed to be, how to put the candles, what to say, who to say what, and all of that. All of it is clearly written. So it would be good if you go through that. And then the next thing is the yearly program. Now, as directors, it is very important to not be blown by the wind, if I may. You know, instead of just wanting to see, we'll see what happens next month, perhaps we're going to do this, or maybe we're going to do that. You need to have a formal program planned for the entire year for your club. And it is also important to get the children involved. Ask them, what would you like to do this year? What did we do last year that worked for you? And what did we do that did not work for you? What did you enjoy? What did you not enjoy? What would you like us to add? What would you like us to take away? Then you have the list of that, and then you sit down and you have your calendar from February to November, because it's usually a 10-month period. And you basically slot in. We usually start bigger with just the months to say, okay, in the month of March, this is what we'd like to do as a club. In the month of April, June, July, and so on and so forth. And then after that, you scale it down to the weeks to say, okay, this week in the month of March, second week, we're going to go for the hiking. This person is responsible. And make sure all of this is pre-planned and everyone has a copy of the calendar. What this does is it does not only educate you as a director, the councillors and the children to be organized, to pre-plan things and not to just do things because they feel like doing them. But it also gives order to your organization, to your club. It ensures that everyone knows that you're actually serious about what you're doing. You're not just doing things because, well, you feel like it or because another club has done it. And if other clubs do things, obviously, your year program will not be, it's not 10 commandments. It's not written on stone. It can be altered here and there, but it doesn't mean that you have to now change things just because other clubs are doing something. But have the year program with you ready and, you know, ready to go. Everyone knows about it. And then if you need to add things or take away things, depending on certain circumstances, then you can do that. So examples of things that you can add to your year program. Firstly, of course, you'd need to get the year program from the conference so that your activities do not clash. And then you add your own. So you can have camps, mini camps, like one night camp out. You can have, or you also need to have teaching plans. Forgot about this. You need to have teaching plans in your year plan. So not just the calendar, but teaching plans as also your counselors, whoever has a class to teach, they have to tell you, this is the topic I'll be covering on this day. And at Georgina, we used to take it a step further to say, these are the crafts we'll complete on such and such a day. And the craft, if it takes 2 weeks, then you note it there. So your plan, your weekly plan or your monthly plan or your yearly plan has all of this highlighted, so that you just go through it and you tick it off. And if anything happens in between, you kind of know what is left, how much you've covered, and how much you still need to cover. So planning is very important. And in your plans also, meetings need to be stated. So you state on which day are we going to have meetings and what kind of meetings. Is it meetings for the whole club? Is it meetings just directors and councillors? Is it elders and pastors? And this is what we'll be discussing, and so on and so forth, so that you do not forget things along the course of the year. And then of course you may add your outings. Those are your hikings, your campings, your ice skating days, your singing, your music days, and all of that, and just try and make it really fun. And you can also add your honors. So you go through the list of honors that need to be completed for each class, and you incorporate that into your year plan, so that you know this honor is supposed to be completed by the Pathfinders by this time. I'm almost there. Okay, I think 2 more slides. Right, planning guide. A planning guide shows the Pathfinder staff how to use available resources in planning the details for the club program. So again, in the administrative manual, there's things there, or the format for the meetings, everything that you need, all the paperwork, all the forms and all of that, it's all there. And if you're not sure how to plan, they even have a calendar, the instruction on how to get it done and all of that. So the planning guide basically is in the administrative manual, and it will help you plan for everything. And the investiture service, okay, I was hoping to elaborate more on this, but because we don't have a slide, but that's fine. So the investiture service, usually the Pathfinder leader will notify the conference director that the candidates, or master guides, that the candidates are ready for investiture, and the date is set for the meeting. The investiture service will be conducted by the conference or by master guides. So what you do basically is you notify your area coordinator. You let them know my club is ready for this. And obviously, if your area coordinator together with other master guides were there to assess your club, they would know that, okay, the next step is this. And then you just notify them on the date. And again, they know the whole procedure. So I don't think anyone is lazy to read, but they do know the whole procedure. So if you're not clear on something, then you can always just ask them what needs to be done, and they'll always be there to assist. Yep, that's me. Any questions?
Amen.
Thank you, Officer Zethu. It's not a question. She touched on something very important. I've met it in some clubs here and there. By the way, Joburg South Central West Cluster region, don't feel, I've assessed this as far as Pretoria. The Pretoria boss is here. I've assessed even there on Google Classroom. This is what you will find when you go for assessment. The director informs you that the class is ready for investiture, whether it's online or whether it's physical, you go there. Then the director says, with guide class, we didn't do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. She spoke on that when she was saying that you have to fulfill all the requirements of the honors. So even on curriculum, it is the same thing. If you say you are doing advanced, I'm expecting all the requirements for advanced to be done. And even the honors that are part of that to be done. As an assessor, because I might come not as your area coordinator, I might come as an assessor. So when I come as an assessor, when you say this is done, I expect when you bring me a book for the child, when I go through the child, I'm just referring to the book of the child to say, can you tell me about this? The child tells me, but now you find the book is empty. So there is no evidence that the child did anything. I know there are different children who are difficult and stuff. I think the people for special needs are coming later on here to present. So if the child is a special needs, inform me before I even come to the class, because you know them as a director or as a counselor. That child cannot express or cannot write, but whatever she has done, she can articulate. So inform me so that when I come in there, I'm already aware. I do not expose the challenges of the child. To say, okay, this child, there is this. She understands, but she cannot write. She writes fully. She writes like this, or she does this. So basically, it is to complete all the requirements or all honors. It is very sad. Sometimes you leave a club, you go home, then somebody calls you. But it did not give us this honor. It is because you do not fulfill the requirements. Because in some instances, if you say do requirement 1, 2 of the family life honor, and if you have done that, it does not necessarily, you have done the curriculum, but you have not done the honor as a honor. I cannot give you an honor. Basically, because at the end of the day, when you send your report back to the conference, they would ask me, how did you give this honor when things were not done? So basically, it is important that we complete whatever we are required to complete. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm taking hands. Okay.
Afternoon, once again. I wanted to ask about the curriculum. You just touched a couple of things. For example, if the requirements, it says maybe Christian Gourmet, the 2 requirements 1, 2, 3. Is it okay as a counselor for me to take it as an honor? We do it as an honor. Would I have covered also the requirements? Or you want us to do 1, 2, 3 first and then we do the honor? Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, if we do, right, in that book there is what is normal for every child, né? And then the other one, what is it? Advanced. Yeah, the advanced. What I've noticed is that I've actually given up on doing advanced. Why? Because I tell children we're doing advanced. We do advanced, but when the assessors come, they tell me, you think you have done advanced, but we have answered the questions that are there on the advance, all of them. But I'm told, no, it has to be above the, I don't know. So I've given up on doing the advanced. So are you now encouraging us that we still do advanced and you give us, you honor our children for the advance that they will be done?
Second question. We need to challenge that. If they are saying, the assessors are saying, no, this is not advanced, challenge them and find out from them what is it that they need. Don't just leave it like that. If you as a director or the counselor feel that I've done my best, yes, then challenge it. On the first question, if I may answer also, what I would advise you, if maybe, like I know what you're talking about, they will say requirement 1, 2, 3. It's better for the children to do the whole honor. And then they would have covered that part of 1, 2, and 3 of that honor. And then in the process, they have also end in honor, the whole honor. Thank you.
Can I just add on what you said? I think also what is important for most assessors is to see evidence. You know, some people would say, oh yeah, we've done this, but it's not recorded anyway. And also if questions are not the same, then it would be easier for you to do both sessions. But if questions are the same, then you can always say, okay, this we did, please refer to the owner, but evidence needs to be there. Because if you have the evidence, then there is no way that someone can say that you did not get the work done.
I think she is spot on. Right, to say anything? No, she finished. No, she did. So basically what I know is I've been a counselor in Berea for quite a while. So we agreed as a club that we are doing advanced. I think there is a year which challenged us, which was 2020, where we could not meet, we stop. But basically in Berea we do advanced. Am I right, Director? So we do advanced. So there are times when people will be challenged, but the truth of the matter is when you are doing advanced, it will tell you even the number of honors that you're supposed to do and the right honors. So basically, when an assessor comes, or even if I come and assess, I don't think if the requirements as the evidence is there, I will stop at that. Yeah.
Then the children are showing the
Can I do this?
I think you touched on an important one, especially the honors. Remember, it says 7 recreational. And then the children have been doing from friends some of the honors. And then you maybe do 4 of them on that year. Now they are 7, isn't it so? And the children are showing the badge to say, these 3 we did them. And this year we did 4. Is that not?
I pick what you're saying. I pick what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not advanced. I picked it. She's talking about master honors. A master of evangelism, a master of that. So you do 7 when I've done them in the period of 6 years in the same category. In the same category, you have got your certificates. The conference gives you certificates. That one you don't need an assessor. You don't need a direct. You just need your direct. I take my certificates, I give it to her. Can you order me a master for whether it was crafts, whether it was a master in outdoor nature and what have you? She just orders. Because I've got the certificates which show that I have done. Now they are 7. Simple.
Okay, anything else?
I just want to say it's okay, we must do year plans. COVID has put us right down. But now we want the conference to send us a full year plan because chop and change, we also have church year plans that we must fit in. So we need, because I can show you from all the time I was a director, I had year plans. This year, I'm still waiting to have a correct plan to put in.
Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you once again. I see there's confusion not emanating from here, but sometimes with honors. I would like to make an appeal to directors. Don't force children to collect honors for the sake of collecting them. The honors are age-based. So if a child is 10 years old in friend class and the requirement says they must do the requirements of knot tying, for instance, they must do 10 knots. It does not mean that's an honor. We need to understand that. So don't force the child to do an honor when the child is not, because honors are age appropriate. So please don't collect honors. It means nothing to that child to have an honor that he or she is not capable of applying in their lives. So please, directors, don't force your children to do honors when they are not ready for it.
All right. There is no question. Okay.
Directors, mine is a general question which I want this forum to help us. This comes from the camping skills. So in camping skills, we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So my question is the camping skills done in Pathfinder, Master Guide, PLA different? Do we have anything to do with, probably if I've done camping skills 1, 2, 3, 4 in Pathfinder or Master Guide, then they should be the more advanced one in APLA or PLA, or they are the same things?
I think what we don't understand on camping skills, when you do camping skills 1, 2, and 3 in Pathfinder, if you have your portfolio, you don't need to do them in Master Guide, but you must have those portfolios to show that you have done that. That is the requirement.
All goes back to the evidence. And also you need to note that honors need to be thoroughly done. So you just writing on the answer sheet is actually not completing an honor. If you had to go and watch stars or something, have videos and photos of that. Have evidence, proper evidence to show that something has been done. And if you complete an honor thoroughly and properly and with, vigor, basically, you're not going to need to go back and redo the honor again when you go to higher classes. Another question.
With that answer, my leader, does it mean if I've done camping skills in Master Guide or Pathfinders, okay, if I've done it in Pathfinders, does it mean it's not mandatory that I can do camping again in Master Guide?
As long as there's evidence.
As long as okay, so
evidence.
One of the requirements I think for Camping Skills 3 is actually camping, right? And building the all those, the sanitation and da. So if you've done that, if you took your club out into the bundu somewhere and you built a toilet pit and you did the rake for the dishes and you did all sorts of things that we did for Master Guide, and you have the evidence, you have the photos, you have the portfolio to show that all of that was done and you did it in Pathfinders. When you get to Master Guide, when it comes to the camping skills, you literally just show your evidence. I have done this. This is how I have completed it. The issue comes where people answer questions and they say, I did this, I did this, I did this. And then you come and you say, oh, okay, so how did you build the pit? And they can't even tie a lash. And you're like, how did you build a pit without tying a lash? It's not possible. You get me? So just by simple questions that we ask when we're assessing, we can tell that you didn't do something. Because you can't say you created your own dish rack using planks or sticks and you don't know how to tie a basic lash. It just doesn't make sense. So if you do not have all of that, then unfortunately, when you get to Master Guide or PLA or Apply, you will have to redo it.
This question may be perhaps overemphasized, but let me also jump in. And one of the things that I think even my predecessor was quite clear on, Tabanindlov, which I think that in the few times I've had an opportunity to engage with people is to also be quite clear on, is that what the book says, we have no business adding other requirements that are not in the book. If the book says camping skills is a requirement, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it. It puts no expiry date. It puts no timeline. Then all you need is for you to provide a certificate for those things. If you are going to come with evidence and not a certificate, then you are limited. That evidence is limited to the time period of the program. Is the difference clear? If you do not have a certificate issued to you, if you are going to bring evidence that when you did camping skills in 2003, and you are coming with evidence that you did camping skills, it is not applicable. Because the program for Master Guide expires after how many years? 3 years. If you've done it in 2003 and you've got a certificate, then all well and good, put your certificate as part of your file. The problem is that people come and they say, Mntwanami, science lento thina. Science ubuzumdala. So the fact that you did this thing in 2003, it's all well and good. But if you are not issued with a certificate, you get what I'm saying? Then you need to redo it, unfortunately, and it's nothing personal. Yeah. If you were issued with a certificate and you lost it, don't come and discuss your lost certificate. We do not have an application of Find My Certificate. So don't come and discuss it. If you have a problem with membership, don't come and discuss your problem with membership. If you have a problem with your evidence, don't come and discuss your evidence issues. The file must speak in your absence on your behalf.
Yeah.
That is the issue. So now when you attend back, abangifuni, it's nothing personal. It's not some person. And the problem is not only with candidates, the problem is also with us as conference representative. You see, the man who's asking the question, he's a conference representative and he's emphasizing the question for a reason. He's not clueless about what he's asking. He's emphasizing the question for a reason. And the reason is that mina, unokona, Sibuye Eastern Cape, we come from Eastern Cape, both of us. Bring your file, bring it, make sure you bring it to me. I will sort you out. I will sort you out. Then now I look at the file corner and I tick things that don't exist. Then it comes to me now. Then I'm like, but where is this? But Nokona said it's fine. No, Nokona is not the standard. Let's talk the fact. You know, Nokona said it's fine. No, she's not the standard. The standard is what is on the requirement. So the inconsistency comes with unreasonableness of candidates, and the area coordinators give in to the pressure of candidates. And then now we have a cause and effect problem where now the area coordinators become inconsistent with each other. One says this and the other one says that. So I think the coordination among us as leaders is important. The honesty and integrity among you as candidates is also important. There's no shortcut. There's no shortcut. If you don't have the certificate, you need evidence. If you have evidence, it must not be older than the last 3 years. If it's older than the last 3 years, we repeat. I repeated my standard 6. It's nothing major.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we are done. We're going to give her a round of applause, but this is how we're going to do it. Okay? She did well, so we're going to give her 5. So this is how we're going to do it. Then we start with 1, okay? Amen, thank you. By the way, do you remember her name? Yes. What is her name? Yes. Amen. You are good listeners. Now we've been listening and sitting for so long. Okay? I'm sitting here. I'm a female. We are going to sing a song. I will make you fishers of men. Ne? I have noticed that some people were sleeping while she was doing a very good presentation. Some of you were sleeping. Okay? Since I'm a female, when I'm mentioning a word with an F, I'm going to stand up. If you are a male and there's a mention of an M, you're going to stand up. Okay? Let us start. I will make you fishers of men, fishers of men, fishers of men. I will make you fishers of men. I know men. I know men. I'll be a man for a second or for 2 minutes. I'll be a man for 2 minutes. I'll be a man. You'll see me. I will make you fishers of men, fishers of men, fishers of men. I will make you fishers of men if you follow me.
Are you a real man?
I'm a real man, eh? I'm not. If I was real man, I was not going to do it perfectly. It shows that I'm a woman. Okay, let's do it. I love you too, men, eh? Now I'm a female. I'm not a male. I will make you fish. Do you want to be a female? F for female. M for male.
I will, there's no standing.
No standing, as long as there's no mention of F or M. You don't stand.
Yes.
But if there's a mention of F and then there's M, F, female, females, please stand. If you know that you're a female, unless you're not sure, we are in between. Okay? I'm a female now. Bye-bye, men. I will make you fishers of men, fishers of men, fishers of men. I will make you fishers of men if you fall.